Brandon Maya was born in 1992 in North Carolina, but raised in Texas. Brandon was a lively, funny, and humble child. At the age of 10, Brandon became aware that he was a sinner, and just like a bug caught in a spider's web, fighting for his life and trying to get free, Brandon found he too was fighting the cycle of sin in his own life. Brandon grew older, and even though he was involved in church physically through the worship and drama team, and even dreamed of eventually becoming a youth pastor, he was spiritually dying on the inside. Brandon felt the condemnation of his sin, and he knew he was acting like a hypocrite because he was hiding his true self from everyone around him. During that time of self-discovery, life changed suddenly when Brandon turned 16 years old. While he was at school, Brandon suffered a massive brain aneurysm followed by numerous mini seizures. Because the brain bleed was so extensive, Brandon lost the ability to use half of his body and all of his oral capabilities, including his speech. Within a few days, he had surgery to insert a G-tube directly into his stomach, whereby he received his liquid meals. Unfortunately, the doctors missed his stomach when inserting the G-tube, and for 3 days, his nutritional formula was pumped directly into his abdominal cavity. It took 4 more trips to the operating room to clean him all out. During that time, the doctors also discovered a blood clot extending from Brandon's ankle to his upper thigh, which kept him in the hospital for an extended period of time. Since Brandon's divine detour, as he likes to call it, he uses a wheelchair to navigate and a computerized speaking device to be able to communicate. In the morning, he rings a bell for his mother to feed him his liquid breakfast through his tube and brush his teeth. Afterwards, he has his daily devotional time with the Lord. Ever since the beginning, Brandon has had a positive outlook about his divine detour because he knows that God can heal him. But if or until God does a miracle, Brandon still wants to be used by God just as he is right now. It took almost 2 years after his aneurysm for Brandon to realize because God is a just judge, Brandon would receive the everlasting punishment that he had earned being a sinner unless something changed. At that moment, Brandon started bawling and confessed his sins, and has since turned from them to serving Jesus through how he lives his daily life. Now, Brandon reaches out to anyone he encounters because he knows his purpose as a Christian is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with a dying world. Brandon shares his story with others in hopes to bring God's love and good news to a lost world that desperately needs this message. When asked, how do you have such joy in your suffering? Brandon replied, all our afflictions are light and are momentary compared to eternity, and all of our suffering is meaningful because it produces godly character so others can see Christ through us. Brandon is living proof when you face seemingly impossible circumstances, God will give you the strength to persevere if you put your trust in Jesus. Are you ready for your death? Because Brandon will say for a fact he was not ready for his. Brandon is so glad God met him where he was, rescued him, and give him a hope and a future.